folks. This is me, Dukect live here in the Dukect Lounge. And if you want to come in, and as always, the number is 724-444-7444. Once again, the number is 724-444-7444. And the call ID to connect to me, Dukect, is 92417. Once again, the call ID is 92417. And man, what an interesting week. As most people don't know, or probably do know, we had an election here in the United States, as the big one was for the presidency. It was for President Barack Hussein Obama taking on, well, Willard Romney, the former governor of Massachusetts. And, well, and not really a surprise for me. A lot of people were surprised. But the president has won re-election. And, well, a lot of people are talking about other stuff, like, oh, my goodness, the end of the conservatives, this, that, and the other. Well, I'm not really into that. And if you're happy or sad about Romney winning, losing, or anything else, please, I mean, I'm really trepidatious to even mention these, politics right here, because it just seems to me every time you try to get politics or anything else, people get a little bit, well, not little, just a lot of people just get all upset. I mean, people get upset about the most stupid stuff. I know I watch pro wrestling, and this show bases mainly pro wrestling and the other, pop culture stuff like video games, heck, the Star Wars or anything else, there's a lot of hate as well. Sports, all this type of things. A lot of people get, but yet politics is the one thing that people get so upset. People get very, very angry at politics. And honestly, in my personal opinion, the reason why that is because people, they want the best for their country, regardless of everything else. And when someone else, basically calls them like these horrible names or take things out of context, saying, well, you're negative about what you believe in is going to hurt this country, or, what you believe in is going to, is tear about the treason in this country or what have you, people get upset and there's a lot of friction. And honestly, people, as someone who lives in D.C., lives near the nation's capital, who watches and, C-SPAN and, all those type of those political shows and everything else, these are people who, honestly, regardless of affiliations and such, these are people who are trying to, at best, trying to improve the nation, what have you. I don't think they do it out of, what type of legislation, what have you. It's not, they're not trying to be mean-spirited or what have you. They're trying, I think at the end of the day, they're trying to do what's best for the country. And I cannot, I may criticize or what have you, but I don't hate anyone else's side or what have you. I don't hate anyone who basically tries, has a different opinion than I do. Just, I might not like the opinion, but I can hate them, which I think most people in this country, or maybe around the world, they just, a lot of people get a lot of, when you talk politics with people, they just get really frustrated and angry. And since I'm leading the politics, well, we got to look at everything else. We got to talk about the Linda Mcmahon. And well, sadly, she, she ran for Senate again. And, boy, she lost handily. And maybe it's because of her policies or what have you. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what policy she was going to be voting for, what have you, in Connecticut politics. And a lot of people with, a lot of people in the rest of the community are happy, screw you, Vince. And honestly, personally, though, some people are happy, some people are sad. But personally, I don't know how good of a senator she could have been. I personally don't know why she went offered a seat to begin with, To me, I also think she should have ran as like a representative or try to get some type of a council seat. To me, I think she's trying to do the express way to, the prominence. And with the negative baggage of the WWE, rightly or wrongly, I don't think she should have run. I don't think, even though she has lots of fans, but a lot of that fan base is, well, maybe, one is not as big as it used to be, and two, it's, well, again, like I said, it's not really in a positive manner. A lot of people don't like the WWE creatively right now. A lot of people don't like the fact it's really just on this fly booking, for example, Monday Night Raw, changing the main event from, from the traditional series matchup to a triple threat match with little to no hype. With 2 weeks, ladies and gentlemen, for the pay-per-view build and for Ryback, John Cena, and CM Punk, which honestly on paper sounds good, but yeah, it just really at the end of the day, it just feels like, very rushed booking and everything, very rushed. And it just feels like the way they handle it is just really like a rewrite instead of something happening organic and such, just wasting all that time on Foley and Punk, and we have Team Foley and Ziggler, it just doesn't really set the world on fire. But anyway, getting back to the politics thing, and quite honestly, I'm just really surprised at this amount. But then again, when you look at the world of politics, how much money you have to spend on politics these days, I'm not really surprised. But on total, Linda McMahon basically spent around, over $90 million on both of them, not $90 million on her bond, Linda McMahon's campaign. That's a lot of money. And honestly, in the way she lost, not once but twice, handily, all that money spent, there's a reason why Vince McMahon looked all distraught, though. I mean, I know it's probably just hurt to see your wife put something so into it, something that she really cared for, what have you. Her Senate and everything else, her duties and everything. It's like, I guarantee you, she's probably really, she probably feels for her. But I guarantee you, some of them is like, it's like, oh my gosh, I spent $90 million on this. Plus, you have a network, a WWE network that is, well, that may or may not come to fruition. And yeah, it's a lot of people are like, yeah, it's honestly, by the way, it's $97 million. And according to BusinessWeek.com, the article just recently came out, Linda McMahon, I think honestly, it just seems that, actually, right here, I was right here from Bloomberg and Business Week right here, and she says this, right here, right here, says the question. A lot has been made of the 97 you spent on these races. How do you think that's been portrayed? Her response: the way it's framed is that I'm trying to buy the election for my personal gain. What will be my personal gain? I'm not looking for a new career. I had a wonderful career. I'm hoping to bring a different voice and perspective and use my skills that have been honed as a CEO in bringing people together. I had a little bit of fame and fortune. I've been in the public eye. I wasn't looking for a hobby. If I were looking for a hobby, it wouldn't be the United States Senate. That's one of the toughest jobs I'll probably ever do. I just felt there wasn't enough compromise going on. People were too far to the left, too far to the right, with no one trying to build a compromise. Understand the attention. Look, it's an incredible amount of money to spend on a campaign. And right here was the money well spent. So it's actually what she says right here. I feel really good about what I've accomplished. accomplished, Linda McMahon, in this article right here on Bloomberg Big this week. I will leave a link on the description if you want to read the whole thing. And here it is. Where the question was it money well spent? Seeing responses, I feel really good about what I've accomplished. So many people have said, you made me think that I could do something. You made me look at things a new way. I think people were more thoroughly convinced the second time around I was passionate about these issues. I found that I had a special following around 12 to 14-year-old girls. I was incredibly flattered. When I asked a mother about this, she said, I've become a role model for these girls, which I would say that's true, because seeing a strong female in power of a CEO of a huge company, regardless of what you feel about WWE, this is a huge country. A huge company, a very huge company. WWE is a huge company, and she, for the most part, is what have you. And she was a CEO, and I think she dropped her job to basically to run for the Senate, which honestly, hey, if she wants to do that. But honestly, I think that's a bit of damage control. I bet she is probably like, maybe she should have done more with more positive ads or maybe more negative ads. I don't know. It just seems that, and maybe it was the WWE being a positive and negative influence, the double-edged sword that cost her the race. And that is probably what really happened. But you never know, man. You never truly know. But honestly, it probably is because at the end of the day, it probably was the WWE's legacy, or WWE's, standing with the majority of the people would really hurt her. As, maybe if she would, I wonder though, she actually, in a wrestling boom, I think she would have won the Senate race. And by the way, before I get off of the subject, I'm going to say this. Personally, people will say this is the LPG era. No. It wouldn't matter, because honestly, the same problems the WWE still has, it will still be there. The championships don't matter. There's too many people in the mid-card, too many jobbers around. Heck, you just trust me. Just because you're a PG does not mean you can actually say build up young talent. You can't build young talent, or what have you. You can build young talent, and that's not because of PG. You could do a PG family-oriented show. I mean, you can. You can. Wrestling has survived doing that. WWE did it before in the 80s and the early part of the 90s. WCW in the early part of 1995 or 96 or 97 or what have you really did run a PG show. And it actually was family-oriented. You saw a lot of families watching the show. It was edgy, but yet not too edgy. You can do that. But, you can have, personally, I've seen, bad type of attitude era stuff. We need to move on from that, people. It doesn't matter what type of attitude era or what have you. As long as the same stuff is going on, championships not meaning anything, too many mid-card jobbers, and only a few guys in the main event that honestly are way overdue to get some new faces in the main event. You can have all the swear words, brawler panties, crazy matches, what have you. It won't mean a damn thing, because at the end of the day, it'll be violent, more violent, yes, but the problems will still be there. And there's honestly, the only way to fix that is to fix those core issues. And the WWE has the talent and the personnel to do it. But honestly, regardless if they're going PG or not, it's all up to them. Anyway, I will take a little break here. I'll be right back here on the Dukect Lounge. Thank you for listening. We'll be right back right after this. are back, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Dukect Lounge. Thank you so much for joining me. The phone number is, as always, 724-444-7444. Once again, the number is 724-444-7444. And the call ID to connect to me, Dukect, is 92417. Once again, the number is 92417. Also, if you want just to chat, the chat room's open. As well, you have Shoe Phone. You can connect to me, and we can actually download TalkShoe Pro 2.0. You can do Shoe Phone, and you can just instantly talk to me. We got a mic. You can sit there and talk. So, okay, and that'd be really good. Actually, right now, believe it or not, I actually was replying to LV5454 and everything else. Just very interesting YouTuber. And honestly, just look at his tweets. You know what? I agree with him, man. It's, some people, it's like and one of his interesting tweets were like, the whole shoving indie wrestling down people's throats, complaining it's getting played out. Quit bitching about WWE and TNA then, which is true. If you don't like either product with WWE or TNA, there's other avenues. Ring of Honor, Shikara, Dragon's Gate, AAA in Mexico. You have many others, including local ones. I mean, seriously, this is a worldwide internet, people. You can find anything or any type of organization, and you can probably be surprised how good, if not better, than some of these major league stuff too. So honestly, I know there's no excuse right now. You guys, the guys on right now, honestly, the best thing you could do is to actually use use the internet to find these new type of talent. Heck, you know what? You find new and very probably even better talent than the WWE and everything else. And it actually helps. Honestly, it helps us out because hey, if you watch them, you tell your friends and everything else, more money goes into the business. More eyes go watch. And it helps pay the wrestlers and all that sort of thing. It's better to actually, because to me, when you have something like the internet, you have something you can watch all these independent leagues, including something in your local leagues as well, which I need to start doing. You have to, because honestly, at the end of the day, these are where the next generation of wrestlers are going to come from, man. These are the next guys that WWE or TNA are going to probably scoop up. So this is a smart decision. I mean, it's smart to actually look at these guys, see how raw talent they are, and see how good they could do with everything else. Let's get back to one of the main. I'd also placed. Anyway, let's get back to one of the main stream promotions, TNA, ladies and gentlemen. And honestly, I liked that Impact last night. Only a few problems, the knockout stuff, but everything else. But honestly, I had no real issues with it. In fact, there's a lot more interesting stuff going on, but I really did. I really think it was a really good match, really good Impact. And honestly, there's a lot of things that's leading up to. And believe it or not, there's pay-per-view Turning Point, which I'm going to be watching. And I'm going to be previewing the matches here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be previewing these things right now. Let's start out right now. A mixed tag match with Eric Young as ODB, who has defended that TNA Knockouts Championship since, I don't know, June, July. I honestly, why haven't TNA stripped them of the titles yet? I wonder. They just realized, Brooke Hogan was actually on ODB about their championships. I'm sorry. Why? And now Brooke Hogan is now trying to beat down Tara. What happened with this knockout? I'm sorry. I'm done with this, man. Either do something with these belts or just do something with the belts. If you're going to have a female tag team, then get some female tag teams in there. Or just retire the belts. Because honestly, as much as I would like to see a female tag division, I think it's way too early for TNA. I think they should scrap the belts. And heck, maybe honestly, maybe they will change this into instead of a uh, tag team, the knockouts belts. How about the intergender tag team belts? Would be very interesting. I would have liked that. That would actually be really interesting. But that's just my personal opinion. But anyway, ODB is Eric Young will take on Tara and Mr. Spectacular Jesse. And God, Jesse sucks. Honestly, I don't care. And the Impact was on crowd chanting, "You're not famous," to him, and they're right. Why is TNA wasting their time for a guy who's basically a third-rate reality show star of a reality show that actually been canceled? No one watches Big Brother anymore. I don't know. Seriously, I just don't really care. Terror it's just wasteful in this feud. I don't really care. Hopefully, it's just placeholder until they get Miss Testmarker back or something. And get some new knockouts in there. Get rid of the old and get some new stuff. Next up, we have Aces and Eights. One of the members, new members, Doc. God, I know Doc. I know it means Director of Chaos, but seriously, why not just call him Chaos? Why call him Chaos instead of Doc? That's just completely and utterly just one of the most stupidest names in probably wrestling. Seriously, probably one of the dumbest names in wrestling, probably in TNA's history. Probably as bad as Relic, killer spelled backwards. You remember that guy? Yeah. Oh, this guy reminds me so much. But it's sad because honestly, Luke Gallows or what have you is really good wrestling, really good, efficient big man. And I'm hopeful they shave that off. Hopefully just drop the DOC, just call him Chaos. At least it's generic, but still, I think it would be nice, a lot better. And he's taking on Joseph Park. I like Joseph Park. Maybe this might be the return of Abyss, but I don't know who's going to win here. I think it would be better if Doc wins and Joseph Park, I think, gets some measure of revenge, but in the end, Doc wins because he's a new member. He needs to prove himself. Next up, another Aces and Eights match is Devon taking on Kurt Angle. After a surprise turn that Devon was an Aces and Eights member, about for glory, with the crowd chanting, "This is awkward." I haven't seen the pay-per-view yet, but I will see it eventually. And with Devon, being ahead of Aces and Eights, and Kurt Angle getting recently attacked by Aces and Eights, he wants one of them. He wants Devon to basically, he wants one of the faces of the Aces and Eights. He wants to mangle Devon. Kurt Angle wants to destroy one of the Aces and Eights to get, for revenge and such. But honestly, I don't really know about that. I don't see. I'd probably not be surprised if Devon wins because he needs to look strong here. Angle, as good as he is, I don't know what to do with him. I think he's honestly at his last days. So I think honestly it'd be best if he just, leave. It'd be best for him to. I'm sorry, little bike trouble. But it'd be better if he actually would just lose a couple matches. I think Angle is good, but I think honestly Devon needs the victory to build himself up against Bully Ray in a real matchup, probably the next pay-per-view. Next up, we have the X Division Championship match as Bob Van Dam taking on Joey Ryan. And honestly, hopefully it's going to be really good. I think Joey Ryan, I don't see him winning the X Division title, but I think he comes close. As maybe the next week, maybe the next pay-per-view, what have you. But I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan does pick up the victory here via shenanigans, thanks to Matt Morgan. And honestly, with Ryan there, maybe it would be in his focus and a brand new focus on the X Division. And probably drop the title sometime, before Jesse Sorsen comes back, because I don't know where Jesse Sorsen is. I think he's getting better. I think his neck is getting 100% better. I think, honestly, personally, putting the title, I really wish they could put the championship on Kenny King. Which, by the way, what happened to Kenny King? Can someone put some feelers out for him? Because I know he went on vacation. He's been really crying on Twitter. So I don't know what's really going on here. I'm hopeful that he come. I hope he can come back. Dude was awesome, and dude, someone like him needs to get a shot, man. I don't know. Please, Kenny King, come back. Anyway, let's get on to the. Anyway, let's get on to the next match. As Magnus will take on his former tag team partner Samoa Joe. Gosh, they were awesome tag team. I wish there was still tag team. God, I wish there were, because honestly, they still were awesome as a tag team. But honestly, I would like to see this as Joe. I think Joe might win here. I don't know. Magnus, I would like him as a TV champion. He's young. He's really good. He's 25. He has more of a more positive future than, say, Garrett Bischoff would have him. But I think someone like Samoa Joe, I know it's a little short reign with the TV championship. I would like him to continue it, say, till, honestly, I think someone like Samoa Joe holding that TV title until lockdown would probably do wonders for the belt. But I would not be surprised if Magnus does pick up the victory here to continue the feud. So I'm picking Magnus to win in a great matchup. Next up is Dos Stereotypicos, Chavo Guerrero versus Supermex. Hernandez taking on the former World Tag Team Champions of the world, who will be World Tag Team Champions of the world, because honestly, these two guys are just awesome. I mean, seriously, Kazarian has really came on his own by teaming up with Cass. Seriously, it just becomes so much interesting. These two guys, Daniels, Kazarian, Daniels did the Gundam style on the three-man tag at Impact. I mean, seriously, for that alone, Daniels and Kazarian should win this match. That's my personal opinion. They are just so awesome, and I think honestly these two guys should win. But I wouldn't survive if Guerrero and Hernandez continue their reign of dominance or reign of mediocrity. Or just, honestly, not mediocrity, just a reign of boredom. And honestly, I'm not saying anything else. And personally, I'm not against Chavo. I'm not against Hernandez. But, honestly, how about, there's probably a lot of younger and more interesting tag teams, Latino or Hispanic tag teams. Why not pick one of them up? Instead of just wasting your time with guys who are not going to really cut it. I think it's best if they actually start getting. Hopefully they'll find some new young tag teams, because Lord knows that TNA needs a tag team, some stuff in the tag team division, because they have no tag teams. The other tag teams out there are Robbie E and Robbie T. Yeesh. Yeah, it's pretty pathetic. But anyway, I want Daniels Kazarian to win, but honestly, I'm picking Guerrero and Hernandez to win and retain the belts. Next up is, honestly, one match I can't wait for. It's the number one contenders match for the world heavyweight title for Final Resolution. A three-way dance. And the man who takes the fall cannot have a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship until Bound for Glory 2013. We have the it factor of professional wrestling, Bobby Roode, taking on the Cowboy James Storm, taking on the Phenomenal AJ Styles. And I really like AJ Styles doing that. AJ Styles, James Storm promo. I really like that joint. After that, very good match between Bobby Roode and AJ Styles beginning Impact. I got a feeling that I don't know who's going to win here. Personally, I'll have James Storm winning, but Bobby Roode taking the pin. I know. A lot of people love Bobby Roode. I know people say it's AJ Styles and everything else, but AJ Styles was kind of teasing a heel turn. So maybe Styles, I was going to pick James Storm, but when I think about it more, AJ Styles pinning, say, Bobby Roode after James Storm's super kick and costing him, Bobby Roode, a shot at the TNA, costing him, like, hey, stop Bobby Roode from getting a championship shot to 2013. and Rude, but yeah, AJ stole like the pinfall for James Storm, so James Storm can still have momentum and can't get AJ, and AJ Styles you could still say he's semi-face as like he's with a three-way dance. You know, anything can happen. Also, if Hardy retains, which I may or may not get to, reason why I don't think it's going to happen, or maybe it should not happen after I talk about the ladder match. But there's a lot of interesting ways you could go here as we can look into it. So honestly, I'm picking, believe it or not, AJ Styles. I was going to pick the Cowboy, but I've actually started thinking about it. I think AJ Styles with a heel pinning Bobby Roode. And let's be honest, Bobby Roode had a long championship reign. Dude had the longest championship reign in TNA history. I think honestly he could stay away from the belt until Ground Floor 13. I think honestly Bobby Roode has enough heat. He could be just fine. I think maybe the TV championship. I know people say that's a demotion, but honestly, someone like Bobby Roode, I think honestly it would be a more interesting path. But that's just me. And now it's time for our main event as Jeff Hardy, the charismatic Enigma, takes on his new rival, his new rival, the greatest man that ever lived, Austin Aries, in a TNA World Heavyweight Championship in a ladder match. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be one heck of a match. I got a feeling some would say Hardy will retain, but I would not be surprised with that idea because there's been something very interesting that happened earlier this week that actually will probably really might set everything back. Because, ladies and gentlemen, guess who's suing TNA again? That's right. Him. Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Steiner. And the reason why he's suing TNA this time is because supposedly he said he wrestled Jeff Hardy drunk. Like when he was wrestling Jeff Hardy, that's right. Supposedly he was drunk at the time and inebriated, and that's how everything else. That to me is amazing. That to me is something. What have you? And look at the. Supposedly, I'm looking at FeliciaReport.com, and the link will be in the description. That honestly, he is suing for an incident with Jeff Hardy in a match he had. And here are the details, what have you. According to the lawsuit filed in Davidson County Circuit Court, Scott Steiner suffered nerve damage in his shoulder and neck, as well as a bicep injury, due to what he called Hardy's reckless and drunken wrestling. Wow. And supposedly, since we had that Jeff Hardy incident back last year on Victory Road, when you have that incident, maybe Scott Steiner has a case. And this could really be a really negative thing. And if it is true that this comes out and more people find this stuff out, I would not be surprised, honestly, if TNA, if they were smart, and I really doubt that, but if TNA was smart, they would probably have Jeff Hardy drop the belt at this point and say, you know what, Jeff Hardy, we need you to be our missing man, and have someone like Aries take on AJ Styles for final resolutions and such. You know, something like that. Because honestly, I know they love Jeff Hardy, and a lot of fans like him, and he's a draw, but I'm still in the camp of saying, you know what, I don't care how good his matches was with Aries at Bound for Glory, but honestly, this guy should have been fired. He should have been fired from TNA like he was at WWE, but they knew WWE he was on the biggest push in his career. I mean, seriously, this guy honestly he was out popping John Cena. He was doing all this type of stuff, but he self-sabotages. And honestly, and if this comes out, and there's more, if he can prove this, and Jeff Hardy is the TNA champion right now, that he is now supposedly injured, a former wrestler, that can and everything else has injured a former wrestler with his reckless drinking and what have you, with the supposed evidence right here, with the evidence, with just the Victory Road incident alone, would basically have, like, something wrong about this. There is something, like, maybe Jeff Hardy, would not be safe not only being hammered, but that's like something, I don't care how type of good matches or great matches, Jeff Hardy should not be employed by anything else. And it's employed, period, not just in TNA, but probably in any type of indie. I know he probably get some indie work like his brother, but I don't know. Is this going to really? Because honestly, TNA gave him a second chance, which I don't think they should have given him. And if it comes out that Scott Steiner wins this case, and there might be more wrestlers coming out of it, trust me. And honestly, if he's champion at this point, I don't think TNA would be wise to have him as their champion. So I wouldn't be surprised if Jeff Hardy loses the match here and maybe loses a match here and loses the title and have Aries win. But then again, TNA is, honestly, they love Jeff Hardy for whatever reason. People love drinking the Jeff Hardy Kool-Aid with what Aries is saying, which honestly I wouldn't want to come near that thing. If you paid me $1 billion, I wouldn't drink that Kool-Aid. Probably taste with meth. Probably taste meth, cigarettes, alcohol, and regret. But anyway, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I don't think that what TNA would be doing would be pretty smart if it would be pretty smart for them if they just said, you know what, I think it's best we just have Jeff Hardy be our missing man at this point. I mean, do some jobs. Heck, have him do a few with Robbie E or something. If it comes out that bad, you can just, that sort of thing, and just try to bury it. But if it comes out, because if it does, if this keeps coming out with more and more stuff, I don't know. But, the pay-per-view is this Sunday. I have no idea what they're going to go, what they're going to go into, ladies and gentlemen. But that's just me. Anyway, that's the show for everyone else. That's the show. Thank you so much for listening live with everything else. And listening live and listening live with everyone. Thank you so much for doing that, because honestly, without you guys and everything else, it's very hard to do any type of to do anything with you guys, because honestly, you guys are just awesome, and seriously, you guys make this thing so much better than make this show better. Anyway, that's all from me. This is Dukect here. Peace and love. I'll see y'all when I see y'all later.